Welcome to the Grimdark Diaries. This is your bonus action. Hello, everybody. I hope we're all ready to kind of become a conspiracy theorist and question your entire existence, because that's what researching this case was for me.
Well, I'm like that on a normal day, so tell me how this is going to be different.
Oh, well, I'm going to add to that.
Excellent. I can't wait.
It's time for your bonus action. In 1999, The Matrix was released and became a blockbuster hit and an instant cult classic. The main premise of this franchise is that the world is actually a computer-generated simulation, and humans are unaware that they are hooked up to machines that are keeping them in this false digital world. The main character in the movie, Neo, and a few others are able to become unplugged and escape from this simulation to be brought back into reality.
I love The Matrix
Do you?
so much.
I
Yes.
was hoping.
Yes, it's just one of my favorite movies, the franchise.
Okay, good. I didn't want to message you before this episode and give you spoilers to what I was going to talk about.
Yay.
But I was like, oh, I hope Megan has seen The Matrix.
Literally my whole body is just like lightening up as you're talking. I'm like, yes, and continue.
Oh, yes. This idea that we're living in a simulation was definitely not a new thought that came about with this popular franchise. In fact, philosophers have proposed that our reality could be an illusion for centuries. The simulation hypothesis, or simulation theory, is the proposal that all of reality, including the Earth and the rest of the universe, could in fact be an artificial simulation, such as a computer simulation.
Ooh.
Philosophers, physicists, technologists, and some of the world's most brilliant minds have spoken on simulation theory. Some have tried to identify ways in which we can discern if we are simulated beings. Others have attempted to calculate the chance of us being virtual entities. A new analysis shows that the odds we are living in base reality, meaning an existence that is not simulated, are pretty much even.
What?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, that's cool.
But the study also demonstrates that if humans were to ever develop the ability to simulate conscious beings, the chances would overwhelmingly tilt in favor of us too being virtual denzians inside someone else's computer.
Oh gosh.
Yes.
Okay, I'm living for this.
A caveat to the conclusion is that there's little agreement about what the term consciousness means, let alone how one might go about simulating it. Since the 1960s, science fiction authors have written stories about the humans being trapped in such simulations. Philip K. Dick wrote a short story titled We Can Remember It For You Wholesale in 1966. The story focused on this premise of a simulated reality. It was later adapted into the 1990 film Total Recall with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Okay.
another good one.
Nice.
Dick then gave a 1977 speech detailing the theory. The 1983 television movie, Overdrawn at the Memory Bank, focused on a man who has his mind connected to a simulation. And a 1993 Star Trek The Next Generation episode also featured people trapped inside a simulation. However, the widely seen Matrix movies, which present a world in which humans live in pods and experience life through a simulation tube hooked to their skull, popularized the theory globally with the general public. Us sci-fi loving geeks have been aware of it for years, though.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. The Matrix movies were able to capitalize on new CGI technology and special effects that were not available to filmmakers in the past, so it made the idea that we're living in a simulation very compelling to the masses. Joshua Cook was a Virginia high school student when he heard about the film. His interest peaked when he heard his friends raving about the movie and the amazing special effects. Then his friends mentioned how cool the main character was in his black trench coat. That really hit a high note with Joshua. He had already had an obsession with black trench coats because of the movie The Crow. He went to Blockbuster and rented the Matrix movie. For anyone that doesn't understand that sentence, I shudder slightly because it blows my mind that people are alive right now that have never experienced the joy of getting to go to the movie store.
That's so true.
Walking down those aisles trying to decide, picking your treat.
Seeing if there was a movie behind the box in the front.
Yep. So right from the beginning of the movie, it had Joshua's attention. The heavy metal music and aggressive themes were exactly what Joshua was into. The dialogue stuck out in his mind. A lot. Certain lines that were said in the movie about realizing that Neo, the main character, was in a simulation rang true to feelings that Joshua had. It felt like he finally found something that related to exactly how he has felt all along. He had always felt like there was more than this, and the Matrix was making him feel justified in those thoughts. Inspired by the movie, Joshua went to his local mall to hit up the Hot Topic store. If anyone hasn't been to a Hot Topic, they're magical if you're a geek.
I have not been to one, although I am a geek. There's not one anywhere near us.
No, the closest one is about 2.5 hours away.
Which is ridiculous.
It is. And before COVID, I drove there every couple months.
Did you
really? I did.
Just to go to the store.
Yeah. I mean, I have a friend that lives in that town, and she's amazing, and I love her, so...
That's fair.
It made it worth it, but was part of the reason because Hot Topic's there? Maybe. So Hot Topic also has a gothic section with a lot of black clothing and alternative styles. While in the store, Joshua spotted a rack of black trench coats. When he saw them, he ran across the store and grabbed one, feeling so at peace with finding a jacket just like Neo from The Matrix. He held it close to his chest and described holding it as tight as he would hold a girlfriend.
Wow.
Yeah, he was feeling that jacket.
That's some quite a bit of love for that jacket.
I felt that when I bought shoes before, so I'm not going to judge him.
That's fair, yeah.
Whenever he would be going through a rough patch, whether it was being bullied at school or allegedly being abused at home, he felt like he could escape. He'd put on his black trench coat and he'd feel like he was somewhere else, just like Neo. For him, the trench coat felt like a living, breathing organism. Putting it on made him feel strong, with a sense of true power. More importantly, it made him feel close to Neo. He would put on his trench coat and spend all day walking around the mall with the soundtrack from The Matrix blasting in his headphones. People would be intimidated by his looming presence, and he would get a thrill from that. This only strengthened his obsession with Neo and The Matrix. He lost count of how many times he watched the movie, but it was into the hundreds.
Wow.
There were days when he would watch it 2 or 3 times in a row. The simulated world that the movie is set in was just so mundane and boring, which is exactly how Joshua felt about the world he was living in. He felt that nothing had ever gone right for him, so there had to be something more than this world. Maybe this Matrix movie wasn't so fake after all. On Monday, February 17th, Joshua woke up to a heavy snowfall outside. He found his adoptive father, Paul, outside shoveling, so he grabbed a shovel to help him out. He recalls his adoptive mother, Margaret, came outside to see them and said, "There's so much snow. We're going to remember this for a long time." Joshua then spent the rest of the day in his room playing video games and watching the Matrix movie with his black trench coat on. As day turned into evening, paranoia sunk in for Joshua. Then all of a sudden, it was like a flash came over him, and he started thinking to himself, the only way he could find out for sure if the Matrix was real and that he wasn't losing his mind would be to pick up the phone and call them. In the movie, the only way in or out of the Matrix is through a telephone line. He then left his room and walked to his parents' bedroom and picked up their landline telephone. He slowly picked up the phone, and after a deep, nervous breath, he spoke those powerful words, Neo's final words. Quote, "I know that you're out there. I can feel you now. I know that you're afraid. You're afraid of us. You're afraid of change. I don't know the future. I didn't come here to tell you how this was going to end. I came here to tell you how it's going to begin. You're going to hang up this phone, and then I'm going to show these people what you don't want them to see. A world without you. A world without rules and controls, without border or boundaries, a world where anything is possible. Where we go from there is a choice up to you." Joshua then hung up the phone and calmly walked back to the TV in his room to begin watching The Matrix all over again. He kept staring up at the big Matrix poster that hung over his bed, thinking of how awful his life was, and that using the phone wasn't the key to escape. So he got his newly purchased shotgun and put some slugs in the chamber and slid the action forward.
Excuse me?
Yes?
Okay, but wasn't it the pill that Neo took?
Yeah, I think he skipped over that step.
If he watched it that many times, you'd think he would remember that it was initially the pill he took to get to the Matrix.
Yeah, I think he overlooked that.
Definitely. But the shotgun is definitely not
I mean,
what
it's
I
an
would use
aggressive jump.
an alternative route.
Yeah, he went from telephone to shotgun.
Yeah, okay. That is definitely aggressive for sure.
He then grabbed his portable CD player and put on his headphones. He began playing the song Bodies by Drowning Pool. If anyone doesn't know that song, I'd suggest giving it a quick listen right now, just to get you into the state of mind that Joshua was in. The song opens with a disturbing whispered chant of, "Let the bodies hit the floor, let the bodies hit the floor." Joshua, now with headphones on and shotgun in hand, starts walking downstairs to his basement. Once he reached the bottom of his basement stairs, he saw his mother sitting at her computer with a smile on her face. She swiveled in her chair to face Joshua. When she saw the gun in his hand, a gun that she didn't even know he owned, her smile vanished. He then lifted the gun and shot her in the chest.
No.
Joshua then turned to the other side of the basement where his father had been sitting at his computer, and he watched him dive under the table for protection. His father stared up at Joshua with a look he had never seen. It was a look of utter shock and disbelief. Joshua then crouched down to be level with him and fired his shotgun, hitting him 3 times.
Oh my gosh.
He then went upstairs to reload the gun. He proceeded to calmly walk back downstairs again, his headphones still on, blasting, "Let the bodies hit the floor, let the bodies hit the floor." He stood at the top of the basement staircase as his mother stood at the bottom of the stairs, clutching her chest as blood poured from the wound.
Oh my gosh.
Joshua then lifted the gun up and aimed it directly at her face. His mother looked up at him and said, "Joshua, what did you do?" As he steadied the gun at her, she said, "You wouldn't." He then pulled the trigger. Joshua explains that seeing this was not like it is on TV or in The Matrix. Real life was so much more horrific. Trigger warning for a gruesome description directly from Joshua. When he pulled the trigger, her face exploded. Her eye and half of her face exploded through the back of her head.
Oh my gosh.
Her flesh rippled as the shotgun ripped through it, and blood splattered everywhere. This sight of his own mother had an immediate traumatizing effect on Joshua. He was still feeling numb, but this sight was jarring. He was so shocked at how different this was than what he thought it would be like. He then went to the kitchen and picked up the telephone. That's when he realized that his younger sister Tiffany was on the phone. She had been on the phone talking to their dad at the exact moment that Joshua had killed both of their parents.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
What?
Their father dropped the phone when he dove for cover, but he never hung it up, so she heard the whole thing. When he asked her to hang up the phone, she said, "Josh, where's Daddy? I want to talk to Daddy." He left Tiffany on the line and went to get his father's cell phone. He then grabbed a can of Coca-Cola and went outside to call 911. He told the 911 operator, "I just shot my parents. I blew them away with a shotgun." A few moments later, police arrive at the house to arrest Joshua. When meeting his lawyers for the first time, Joshua tells them he was just doing his thing like Neo did in The Matrix, trying to escape the simulated world. Joshua did admit that when he committed the murders, he did feel remorse because he was experiencing 2 strong things at one time. He felt as if he was entering the world, as in leaving this world, which he thought was artificial, and entering whatever the real world is supposed to be. But also, in this world that currently feels real, he killed his own parents. Hearing all of this, Joshua's lawyers began creating their defense argument. They described that Joshua harbored a bona fide belief that he was living in the virtual reality of the Matrix at the time of the murders. This would essentially be a very specific version of an insanity defense that has now been officially dubbed the Matrix defense.
No way.
Yes.
Interesting.
Psychologists examined Joshua and diagnosed him with simple schizophrenia. This form of schizophrenia, according to his doctors, meant that people are scarcely real to Joshua. This previously undiagnosed mental illness, combined with bullying and alleged abuse, pushed Joshua to finally snap that night and seek a way out of this reality. So he claims that he was abused at home by his adoptive parents. There was no evidence. His sister is biological.
Okay.
And she's 2 years younger. So at this time, Joshua was 19 and Tiffany was 17.
Okay.
And according to her, she's never witnessed any abuse. She's never been abused. So she had doubts about his claim, but I mean, we don't know.
Who knows?
That's
really?
Exactly.
Literally, I'm 50-50 on that one.
Yeah, so I'm going to say alleged just because obviously
fair.
We cannot
That's
prove it any further.
Yeah.
But he did claim that was one of the things that kind of pushed him to wanting to get out of
And he
the
might
Matrix.
have seen it as abuse when it was discipline. You know what I
Yes.
mean? Like that could be
because clearly he has
of
mental
it.
health issues
That's
that have gone untreated.
Yeah. Oh, that's so sad.
Once charged with the double homicide, however, Joshua never made any excuses for his crime. In his written statement to the judge, he fully accepted blame and said he deserved the death penalty. He truly felt he deserved to die for what he had done. Now that he had gotten treatment for his schizophrenia, he wishes he could take back what he did. He says he thinks about it every day. In the end, Joshua took full legal responsibility for the murders, deciding not to use the Matrix defense and pleading guilty to 2 counts of first-degree murder and 2 counts of using a gun in a felony. At the age of 19, he was convicted to 2 concurrent 32-year sentences, 1 for each murder, plus 5 years total for use of the firearm. Joshua has written a book about his experience in hopes of reaching other troubled kids and stopping them from repeating his mistakes.
Wow.
So Joshua has not been the only person to use the Matrix defense in court.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay.
In 2000, 27-year-old computer science student at San Francisco State University, I'm sorry, I'm not good at pronouncing, I'm going to attempt this name, Vadim Messiages, brutally murdered fellow student Ella Wong, who had been renting him a room in her apartment. The grisly killing involved disemboweling and skinning Wong before cutting her up and unceremoniously scatting her dismembered body parts in various places around the area. When Vadim was found by police, he was wandering around a mall with a knife, high on drugs, and acting bizarrely. Upon his arrest, he spouted a good amount of nonsense gibberish before telling authorities that he was living in the virtual reality of the Matrix, and therefore Wong had never really been a real person at all. He claimed he had to kill her to prevent being sucked into the Matrix further.
What?
He used the Matrix defense, and eventually he was found innocent by reason of insanity. Because the Matrix defense is just a version of insanity.
Oh my gosh. But people know that. They can use that to their advantage.
We're about to dive into some more examples.
Yikes. Oh god, more. Okay.
Tonda Lynn Ainsley, 37, said she had dreams, which turned out not to be dreams. The Ohio woman shot her landlord and employer, Sherry Lee Corbett, to death in 2002, then began talking about the Matrix, alluding to the idea that she didn't think she was actually committing murder in reality. Following her arrest, she told police, "They commit a lot of crimes in the Matrix. That's where you go to sleep at night, and then they drug you, they take you somewhere else, and then they bring you back and put you in your bed. When you wake up, you think it's a bad dream." At the time of the murder, Tonda Lynn believed Corbett, a historic preservationist, and others were drugging her, invading her dreams, and plotting to kill her. According to court documents, this was all to keep her brainwashed and under the control of the simulation she genuinely believed she was stuck in.
Wow.
Yes.
Holy smokes.
As evidenced by, when she shot Corbett, it was in broad daylight in full view of many witnesses.
Oh my gosh.
She also used the Matrix defense, and she was found innocent by reason of insanity.
No way.
Yes.
Wow.
That same year, Lee Boyd Malvo, who along with John Allen Muhammad, killed 10 people in sniper attacks in Washington, D.C. area over a 3-week period. They would be known in the media as the D.C. Sniper. Malvo also blamed the movie, along with video games, for his actions. Malvo, then just a teen, told FBI agents that the Matrix holds the key to understanding him, according to the Globe. He wrote in his jail cell, "Free yourself of the Matrix. You are a slave to the Matrix control." Now, I am no psychologist, but I feel like his thing with the Matrix was a little bit different.
Yeah, he seemed to be reaching.
Yes. I feel like with his, so in the movie, Neo meets Morpheus. Anyone that hasn't seen the Matrix, this is probably going to go right over your head.
That's why these are our geeky bonus actions.
Morpheus is this older, wiser guy who kind of takes Neo under his wing and shows him the reality and the truth, and they fight back against, you know, the Matrix trying to free people. And so Lee Boyd Malvo was young. He was a teenager, and John Allen Muhammad was in his 40s. He was this older, wiser guy who took him kind of under his wing.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I feel it's more of like, that's the way he saw it, as the Neo kind of being saved from the government. They were very anti-government.
And looked up to him as his mentor.
Yeah, exactly. So it was more about like a revolution against the man and stuff like that.
Right.
So I don't think it's the same thing as the other ones, but he still did claim Matrix.
Yeah.
He didn't end up using the defense in the end. His lawyers tried something else, but the media, when you look up Matrix defense, because it's such a famous killing, the DC sniper is so well known that does come up a lot.
That's right, yeah.
Given the handful of these defenses that have emerged in murder cases, Warner Bros. Pictures issued a statement in 2003 saying that, quote, any attempt to link these crimes with a motion picture is disturbing and irresponsible, end quote. These cases, which all happened within a short time following the 1999 release of the first Matrix movie, attracted media attention and stirred up questions. Particularly, why was this film being blamed, and why did there seem to be such a spurt of cases like this? For defense attorneys, part of the insanity defense is typically arguing that your client couldn't distinguish right from wrong. So these lawyers might be prone to emphasize the influence of the Matrix because it frames violence as morally justified.
Yeah.
So instead of, you know, proving that they can't tell from right from wrong, if they think they're in the Matrix, then what they're doing is justified.
Is it?
I mean,
I feel like even if I was in the Matrix, I still don't have the urge to kill people. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like that's...
But if it was your only way to escape the Matrix, if getting past the agents was all standing between you and the real world...
I guess in the Matrix, it's more obvious who the people are, like the Mr. Smiths or whatever. It's obvious, like, the agents...
Well, I'm sure to the first person that woke up, it wasn't obvious.
I mean, I guess.
Someone's got to be the first person into the...
It's my parents. Oh, that's so interesting. I've never heard of that clause before. And that's obviously in the United States, is it?
Well, you can use any kind of defense, I mean...
But it's probably not a...
It's not a clause. It's the defense they're using. So it'd be the same as pleading insanity.
Oh, I see.
It's just a form. Like, you could say anything.
Gotcha.
Yeah, there was another defense, I think in like the 70s or 60s, called the taxi driver offense because some guy was influenced by a movie. So it's just... Gotcha. The media is dubbing it.
No, I understand what you're saying now, yeah. So if somebody did that
so the judge wasn't like, you're off because the Matrix is real.
No. That would be hilarious.
That would be.
That is one geeky judge. It would be kind of like a scenario that they would use, like the lawyers would use that case as a example of how it worked in the past and how this case would be similar and whatnot. So that's very, very, very interesting.
Yes.
I love The Matrix.
I'm so happy.
I'm happy that you brought it into our true crime world, but at the same time, I'm kind of sad that people use that.
Yes. And I will say, so a lot of the information I got, all of the information about Joshua I got is from a new documentary that just came out, which I am guessing you have not heard of it based on that reaction. It is literally called Glitch in the Matrix.
Oh, okay.
It just released. It's all about this simulation theory or simulation hypothesis about the chances are that we are living in a simulation.
Okay.
It is amazing.
Ooh.
Yes, there's the live, I mentioned Philip Dick.
Yes.
That speech, there's footage from that in there. Ooh. You hear from all kinds of brilliant minds. And then Joshua is calling in from prison and telling this story.
Oh, really?
Yes, obviously it'll be kind of a repeat. I didn't take every single detail, but I did kind of listen to what he was saying and took out the details of the crime.
Yeah.
But the way the documentary does it, he's speaking, he's telling the story, describing what happened, how he felt. And in the documentary, since they obviously don't have real footage and they don't have footage of him because he's in jail, they simulated like a first-person shooter video game. So you're seeing it from his perspective.
Oh my gosh.
But it's not like realistic. It's like very old school, like think like Doom.
Okay,
like
that is actually
school.
what I was envisioning when you said that.
And there's music and it's very, very cool.
Interesting.
Yes.
Okay, cool. I will definitely have to check that out.
Yes, it is a very good documentary.
Yeah.
I highly recommend.
Okay, I will watch it.
So the question, Megan, would you take the red pill or the blue pill?
The blue pill is the one that takes you to the Matrix, right?
No, the other
blue
way.
pill, it's the other
So
way
the
around.
blue pill...
I couldn't remember when I said that earlier.
Yeah, the blue pill is you just keep on keeping on in this world. You would take the red
pill. 100%, yes.
Really?
I really would, yeah. I thought about this a lot over the years. I am a very big Matrix nerd. I love those movies so much. And just the thought about this all being a simulation, obviously, like, I don't know for sure.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to, like,
Do
live a life
what
where we are. But I do feel like if that opportunity ever arose, 100% I would take it. And I would definitely go live in the Matrix.
even if you did and it was as not great as in the Matrix movies, because it's very bleak and sad and dangerous.
Yep.
And there is that one guy who then double crosses and tries to go back and
You're spoiling the movie for people.
it is
that one thing that happened in the movie.
It came out in 1999. If they haven't seen it now, then
oh my god, it's been 22 years.
yes, right?
Okay, did not say that out loud. I mean, I'm only 25.
Megan, we're only 19.
We were
so...
super young when the movie weren't even born. I mean, when we...
No. Right before we recorded, I wasn't talking about the wrinkles around my eyes.
No.
The age of 32.
And I definitely didn't see all of them in theater, so...
No.
No, it's not a thing.
No.
Yes, 100% I would live in the Matrix. Not in the Matrix, in the real world.
You would be unplugged.
The real world. I would be unplugged, yeah. That whole thing, like, and being able to just download
that's
to know
the
how
best
to
part.
fly a helicopter and like know how to do although I do know a bit of taekwondo, but I don't have my black belt yet, so it's something
you could just download that black
could
belt.
download it. Yeah. I would love that. I would absolutely love that. I'd love to go into the Matrix, do your fun things, and then come out and then live in the real world. You know what I mean? Like it's like a fun VR, but like way more realistic.
Yeah. I mean, we might be living in it right now.
We might be.
What do you think? Do you think the chances are we're living in a simulated world right now?
I don't. I'm too, not cynical, but like...
Skeptical?
I am skeptical. I'm also like...
A realist?
Logical, realist.
So, hey, people like Neil deGrasse Tyson, they've like talked... Elon Musk talked about it.
This is the thing with me though. Because I am who I am, I'm also very open-minded.
Yes.
So if evidence started to like pile up, I would be like, oh, maybe.
You gotta watch this documentary. It might tip you a little.
It might. I don't know.
Honestly.
I'm actually really kind of excited
I didn't even know.
it.
I didn't realize there was a simulation theory, like an actual like scientific.
I didn't either. I mean, I've heard people have these kind of conversations before,
absolutely.
like panels and things like that, but nothing for real.
No, this is you have to see this documentary.
This is exciting. I'm actually getting excited to talk about it.
It's good.
If it is a real thing and you presented me with evidence, I would 100% start to believe it.
Good.
I do love a good conspiracy theory.
Everyone send their evidence into Megan.
Yes.
Let's see if we can sway her.
Please do.
I feel like I could go either way. I feel like I have moments in life, like when I hear these cases, all of these people think that they're in the Matrix or like a simulated reality because all this bad stuff is happening and everything is awful and they're like, this can't be it. This can't be it. Mm-hmm. But I kind of feel the opposite. I feel like when really good stuff happens to me, I'm like, this can't be real. Like this has to be.
Really?
Yes. I feel like when really good stuff happens is when I question our reality, and I'm like, is this really happening to me?
That's
Like,
fair.
I'm
I mean,
like, this can't be real.
It is like a thing where people say, is this real? Pinch me. Like,
yeah.
Is this real life right now?
Yes, when really good stuff happens, it makes me
Like
think
when
that we're in a reality.
We meet all these amazing celebrities at
Yes.
the convention here and
Yes.
whatnot. Like, I feel the same way. I'm like, oh, am I actually like talking to this person right
Yes.
now who I watched all growing
Yes,
up
or
on
did they
TV?
write it in the simulation?
I don't know.
So I don't know. I guess I'm the opposite of all these people.
I am very excited to watch that documentary.
It's
I'm definitely going to check that out.
It's
I'll
going to
probably
make
check
you
that this weekend.
rethink life.
I can't wait. I like rethinking life. I'm stuck in a rut.
Yeah.
I think we all are.
If you could live in a different universe, like the Star Wars universe, the Lord of the Rings universe, the whatever it may be universe, Mario, an alternate world.
It would definitely be the Lord of the Rings.
Not just because I said it.
No, it's not. And I've always felt like the Lord of the Rings have always been my favorite movies.
Yes.
Always. And I have felt, well, okay, so like, I think I might have told you this before. I was in love with Legolas. And
I mean, who wasn't?
I mean, for real. I used to work at a bookstore, and we used to have, like, display the books of Lord of the Rings on it, and it was in the shape of Legolas. Mm-hmm. So when we were done with it, I took it home.
Oh, God, Megan, what did you do with it?
I just had it in my room.
Did you sanitize it?
I might have kissed it once. I don't know.
Everyone, please meet Megan's cardboard boyfriend.
I can't remember if I sanitized it or not, though. I was like 18 years old. I was head over heels for this golden locked
elves are hot.
They really are.
I love elves, so I'm not judging you. I think elves are hot.
Yeah. What about you?
If I had to pick a world to live in, I love so many different worlds. Mm-hmm. I feel like, I love fantasy worlds so much, but I also love sci-fi.
I'm the same way.
It's so hard.
Yeah.
And I also am very much of the Lord of the Rings world. Mm-hmm. However, that would only be if I get to be an elf.
Right.
Because if I'm a hobbit, no dice.
True.
I'm not about that hobbit life.
But you get to drink all day and smoke your pipe weed.
Those fuzzy feet, I cannot wear my stilettos. I'm not feeling it.
That's totally fair.
I feel like if I could choose an alternate world that was not this one, it would be the world of Mass Effect.
Ooh,
yes, so I could explore space and be like a super badass, pathfinding space hero.
Along with those same lines, if I had to pick a sci-fi one, it would be Star Trek.
Interesting.
100% Star Trek. I grew up a Trekkie.
Yeah.
I was very
The
much
truth comes out.
I know.
Well, now you got to find a Star Trek true crime
with
case.
Yeah, I could do that,
for all your Trekkie fans.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Do we have any of those out there still? I grew up watching it with my dad, so it was very ingrained in me at a very young age. I'm pretty sure, like, since birth.
Oh, jeez.
So I have always watched Star Trek, all of them, every single one. The only one I haven't seen is Enterprise.
Sure.
Yeah, Star Trek Enterprise. It's got the lead guy in it is the lead guy from Quantum Leap. Do you remember that show? Oh,
no.
God, Nikki.
Is that a 90s show?
Yeah. 90s or 80s. I can't remember exactly when. It was so good. He basically leaped through time and...
That's my kind of show.
Oh my God, it's so good. You have to watch it. Although I haven't seen it since then.
So maybe I should
watch it.
Long
time ago. I don't know how it's held up to this.
Geeky shows usually hold up.
Yeah, they usually do. Yeah, and
because they're usually ridiculous to begin with. And
I've heard it referenced a few times over the last few years, so I think it still holds up. I don't know how you can watch it now. It's probably on one of those streaming services.
Well, I think that wraps us up for questioning our entire existence and whether we are all real and if you're really listening to us. So tune in next week and hopefully we will still be here and we didn't all just fall into the Matrix.